What's up, guys? Welcome to Cobra Kai. We're on Cobra Kai Season 1, Episode 5, Counterbalance. So, this episode starts off with Miguel putting some earbuds, and yeah, and, and so, yeah. So then we see Daniel, and he's like, hey, it's like, hey, he's talking to this guy named Armand who owns the Cobra Kai strip mall. And he's like, hey, what if I could sell it to you? And I scratch your back, you scratch mine, and vice versa. And yeah, so then next scene he calls them, and oh wait, also there's next scene Sam, and Sam is like, oh hey, yeah, Moon and Yasmin are not like hanging out with me anymore. Actually, they're not hanging out with her. They're just going. They're supposed to go to a concert, but they didn't invite her. So yeah. So yeah. Then we see Daniel at work and he's calling Armin and he's like, "Hey Armin, what about buying that Cobra Kai place?" And he's like, "Daniel, I don't think we should be in. I don't think I can sell you the strip. I don't think I can sell you the strip mall." He's like, what about me, He's like, we always got our back, and hangs up. So then we got at Cobra Kai, we see Miguel and Johnny doing some training when Aisha, and she's like, hey, I want you to cry. And he's like, no. And she's like, why? And he's like, because girls don't do cry. And then he's like, excuse me. So they can I talk to you for a minute? And he's like, hey, her dad is a big celebrity. We should get her to join Cobra Kai. And he's like, but girls don't do Cobra Kai. Girls don't do cry. But he's like, eh. But yeah. So he's like, why do you want to join Cobra Kai? And she's like, why do you want to cry? Because people are bullying me and they're saying I should die. He's like, loser. And from Johnny's point of view, he says, from Johnny's sense, he says, losers. Back in my day, if people wanted to tease someone, they would say it straight to their face instead of on the computer. These people are losers. And then, yeah. And then Miguel fights. And then Johnny has Aisha and Miguel fight. Miguel punches her, but he's like, whoa, sorry. And then she's like, and beats him in the ribs, and that really hurts him. So then we get Robbie and his mom, and we're at last episode when when Johnny and his ex-wife talked, she was on a date with Sky, but it looks like they didn't go so well, so she date with another guy, and he's like, oh yeah, your dad came by, he's like, did I tell you? He's like, no, and he's like, yeah, he came by to say something about you living with him. Glad I'm never gonna let that guy back. So yeah, and then that night while Robbie's hanging out, his mom drunk. I think she's drunk. She comes back with that guy, and then she just continues to do what she's doing. So yeah, and then Aisha officially joins Cobra Kai. So yeah, and then Daniel's like, I was trying to talk to Armin about buying Cobra Kai. Why would you want to buy Cobra Kai? Because I'm not gonna buy it. I just want him to up the rent. And since he's gonna up the rent, Cobra Kai's gonna close. But and then Amanda's like, Daniel, where's the Daniel that I married? Where's the Daniel I married? I want him back. So yeah. So yeah. And then Yasmin and Moon talked. Sam goes into her car and she's like, "Oh yeah, Kyle spreading lies about you, saying how you think you're better than us. So you can either be friends with us or get out of Moon's car." So Sam chooses to not be friends with them anymore. And yeah. So yeah. So then Robbie sees Miguel and Johnny hug, and that inspires him to want to get revenge on Johnny. So he's like, hey, I want to be implied out. He goes to Amanda LaRusso or Mrs. LaRusso, and he's like, "Hey, can I get a job here?" And she's like, "Sure." Daniel's a little busy, but you can get a job here. So yeah, welcome to the LaRusso family. So yeah, and Daniel's busy because he went to see Mr. Miyagi's grave. Not Mr. Miyagi's dead because of Pat Marie is passing. So he went to see the grave of Mr. Miyagi. He's like, "I wish you were still here, Mr. Miyagi. You could give me a lot of wisdom." And then while he's in his car, he's flashing back about in Karate Kid 1 or Karate Kid 1 about the car scene. He's like, "Do you understand? Do you understand?" He's like, "Yeah, I do now." So at the end of the episode, Daniel opens up his own karate studio called Miyagi-Do Karate. And yeah. So yeah. And also now Johnny has to pay up the rent, and yeah, so he tries to like up the rent, so he has to like pay. So one day he's getting a beer, he's getting some beers, and he sees Daniel, and he's like, never mind, I'll forget the paint, but I also put my beers on his put his beers on my tab. So Daniel's kind of being nice right now, being nice to Johnny. Instead of having Johnny pay for himself, he's paying Johnny's beers for. He's putting his bill on. He's putting Johnny's beers on his bill. Nice of Daniel to do that. But yeah, so yeah, the episode ends with Daniel opening up Miyagi-Do Karate, and yeah, and at the end of the episode it says loving memory of Pat Maria from when he was born in 1932 to when he died in 2005. I just love this episode. Every Cobra Kai episode gets so good, and this episode gets it good. I forgot to see him. Let's yeah. So yeah, that scene where Johnny gives Miguel the gi that he got from 1984 was because at lunch Daniel and his friends are hanging out when Sam goes to confront Kyler, and she's like, "Hey, why are you spreading lies about me?" He's like, I don't know what you're talking about. I just talked about a movie." And lying again, Kyler. Kyler's gotta learn to stop lying, because he lied to Daniel. He's lying to his own ex-girlfriend. So come on, Kyler. And then he's like, and she's like, "Oh yeah, that's from that turd Daniel LaRusso. That's the turd's daughter." And he's like, "Hey," and Miguel's like, "Hey, stop bullying her." And he's like, "Come on, Rhea." And then Daniel's like, and then Miguel starts beating up, and he's like, "What about your lame butt crying?" He's like, "It's not lame butt karate, it's Cobra Kai," and beats him up. And he goes to Johnny's like, "Hey Johnny, I took what you said, I took your lessons, I slithered," and yeah, that's what led to that scene. And it also impressed Sam. So that. But now let's talk about my afterthoughts of the entire episode. This entire episode was good. I'm glad that Kyler got what's coming to him from both Sam and Miguel, because Miguel kind of, yeah, and that fight led to people. Johnny has been trying to get students to join Cobra Kai, and so far he's got is Miguel and Alicia, or Aisha, yeah, Aisha, and not Alicia, Aisha, but that fight caused a bunch of people to swarm Cobra Kai, so they're back in business with a bunch of members, and I'm excited to see where this goes from here. So I really loved this episode. Miguel kicked Kyler's butt. He kicked Kyler's butt, and I loved it. The Daniel side was pretty good. But Robbie, he was pretty good too. Him Buchanan does a really good job with Robbie, but him wanting revenge on Johnny for having a father-son relationship with Miguel because remember, Johnny wasn't there for Robbie when he was born. So Robbie hates Johnny for doing that, and that's why he wants to join Russo Auto to get revenge on Johnny for how he has a father relationship with Miguel, but his father, aka Johnny, was never there for him. No. And also, I really like how, just like Johnny, just like even though Robbie knows his father, Miguel never knew his father. So for Johnny to be like his father figure, even though he never knew his actual father, is really good. Yeah. So thanks for watching. Next time I'll be reviewing Cobra Kai Season 1, Episode 6. I'll see you guys in the next one. And also, after I'll be doing Season 1, and we're almost finished Season 1, then Season 2, then Season 3, then when Season 4 debuts. So, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Dude, yeah!